tell you, this is what it's all about right here, what you're about to see. 300 feet. 300 feet runway. And then that. Down on the farm, huh? What you can do down on the farm. Next to cornfield. Welcome to the Experimental Aircraft Channel. I'm Brian, and today I'm in Cleveland, Tennessee. I'm about to show you the nicest Zenith CH701 ever built, right here in the shop, coming up right now. Thank you to our channel sponsors, Wicks Aircraft Supply, AviNation Youth Publication, and Aero Adventure Amphibious Seaplanes. So today I have a real treat for you, and that is we are standing in front of what I believe to be the nicest Zenith CH701 ever built. The builder is right here, Jon Humberd, and we're in Cleveland, Tennessee, and he built this in his own shop on a farm out here in the country. And Jon is going to give us a quick tour of his build and everything he's done to it. How long ago did you start this project, and about how long did it take you to finish it from the point where you took delivery of the kit, opened the box, and took inventory to now took your first flight?
Bought the kit in May of 2016. Built on it just a little bit, and we were in the process of just the normal farm stuff, and we were trying to build a house and everything too. So I put the tail together, and then it sat on the back burner. I didn't touch it again until 2017. At that point, it became a pretty big priority because I was really wanting to have it in the air and really wanting to get back to flying. Spent a lot of hours out here after the farm work, after the normal day job. So probably about 80% of this airplane happened between midnight and 4 o'clock in the morning. Came up here and started when everybody else went to bed.
Awesome.
But yeah, we get started, you know, usually daylight till dark on the farm. So it stays busy.
So this was definitely a passion project for you, be able to put that many hours in the course of a year and a half, 2 years.
Right. It was a lot of fun. Zenith makes a really good kit for people to do that. Once you learn what the plans, how the plans are laid out and what they've got to go with, it goes together really well. The majority of the time you will spend is doing modifications or add-ons or the things you want to do to personalize it.
All right, Jon, another big question, of course, is Which engine did you choose, and what other engines maybe did you consider during the process of this build?
Looked at lots of engines, everything from the 2-cycle Rotaxes, even the 4-cycle Rotaxes. Looked at some of the auto conversions. Eventually settled with the UL Power. It's just a preference. I really like the direct drive. I like the full FADEC control. You've got 2 spark plugs per cylinder. It's just got a lot of redundancies there. The fuel injection and everything it's just the cat meow for this. 130 horsepower is more than enough for a 701, but it's nice to have the extra oomph just to get that short takeoff distance and go straight up if that's what you desire. Both UL Power and Zenith are excellent to work with. You can't always catch Roger or Sebastian or the folks at Zenith right then, but they're awesome to get back with you promptly. Ray and Robert with UL Power, I can't say that I've ever made a call to either one of them that they didn't pick up on that first call. So they've all been just extremely well, just any kind of question you've got to be able to try and help.
Was there anything you had to do to modify the firewall and engine mount to be able to support that kind of power?
Really, no. The engine mount came through Zenith. They're using it with the UL Power, the 107 horse 260. I increased the bolt size where it ties into the fuselage at the top. They're using just the small 3, and I went to an AN4 bolt there just for the extra security in it. All the rest of it is just the completely stock setup.
All right, so let's see what powers this thing. This UL 130 horsepower, which has now made officially the Zenith CH701 the Super 701.
Take a look.
And this thing looks kind of like if you pop the hood of a Ferrari, what you'd find under the hood. This looks amazing. 2 batteries, 2 ignition systems. It's a lot crammed into a tiny space here.
Yeah, a lot of time was spent making it work. As far as the actual hookup for the engine to the airframe, it was very simple. The 130 horsepower to the 701 is a little less common. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 actually flying with the 130 horsepower. So far, there's not a complete cowl available for the 130 horsepower and the 701 combination, so that was a huge project in itself, just forming and building a carbon fiber cowl. Made the plenums, and I opted to go with a rear-mounted oil cooler. So as I made the plenums, I also made a side duct on each side, which comes around and carries forced air to the oil cooler. Both sides come together at the cooler join and go through it and down.
How did you go about the process? I know you shared pictures on Facebook, but how did you go about the process of creating your custom cowling to match this engine?
That was a very painstaking and long process. I would not recommend it.
Okay.
That essentially, and of course, I wasn't real familiar with composites when I started the project. So looking back, the cowling probably is about a 6-month project in itself. Started off, basically in the start, I had it all mounted up. I wrapped the engine with like a cellophane, just the pallet wrap like you would see with feed stores have pallets wrapped. Clear plastic, shrink wrap. Wrapped it up good and tight and got everything sealed up and ready to go. And then fortunately, I was in a spray foam business several years ago also. So
really, I had no idea.
I was lucky enough to have the equipment to do it, and I essentially just sprayed over the engine completely, just completely encapsulated all of it and built the foam up quite a bit, and then started whittling it down, and it was all really just a custom one-up design that you just start forming it and shaping it and sanding and cutting and that type of stuff, and as you go you see what you think you like, you find some things you don't like, you may have to spray more foam and start over on certain sections. It does take some time to get things shaped right. And
did you scratch any of this out on paper first, or is this all by hand, and as you saw it you made changes?
I played with it on paper some. Some people are probably better at that than I am. I essentially wound up throwing my paper away once I got started, and really it's just all by hand, by feel. One of the biggest tricks is trying to get it to where it's proportional. You can get one side looking beautiful with the ducts and everything shaped just right with the curves and everything. The real trick to doing that by hand is trying to get the other side to match, to have
symmetrical
finished product, and that can be a challenge.
Another shot here with the cowling on. I wanted to talk about, there's a lot of talk about cowling designs, and the most important thing of course is airflow, and this is completely custom. So talk to me about the airflow problems that you may have had or didn't have in building your own custom cowling.
Looked at it a lot, and of course I've been accustomed to airflow with air-cooled engines for as long as I've been here. We actually use air-cooled diesel engines in tractors and generators and that type of stuff on the farm. So big engines with air-cooled also. It worked out really exceptionally well for what I had. In my design, I made the ducts, the main cylinder head ducts, I made them ramp up a little bit, and in the initial design, they ramped up quite a bit more, and this hole was much smaller. And that was it. I really designed it that way. I wasn't sure what the finished size needed to be.
But to help create a low pressure?
Well, just to get enough airflow. Essentially on an air-cooled engine, you're depending on the airflow to control the cylinder head temperature. You can control the oil temperature with a thermostat, but with the cylinder head temperature, you need to be able to control it with airflow. So I started out with a really small port here, and as I flew, I essentially just ground the ports slightly bigger until I got the temperatures where I wanted them. And they really weren't that far off, even with quite a bit smaller port. But I knew as summertime got closer, I would need more, and they're still fairly small ports there, but they work really well.
We've got several of them, so it equals to. Well, I guess not necessarily. If you consider some of them are usually open this whole area. Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of them have like a 6-inch round duct, and they block part of that off actually to get the cylinder head temperature up on a few of them. Essentially, is what I think they're doing.
Okay.
The two main cylinder head ducts are the center two. These outside go back and feed the oil cooler. The top duct, a lot of people think is an air intake for the engine. It is actually a pickup for the cabin heat. It goes back and goes down and goes across the heater muff, and then back through a control box and into the cabin. The 701 has a much smaller firewall than a lot of your similar aircraft.
And you built a happy plane, because this one's smiling back at me right now.
It is happy. It's more happy when it's in the air. The 130 horsepower UL power is wider than the firewall, so I wound up making the front just slightly wider. And to be able to make that contour in there nicely, it wound up with a little bit of a curve to match the contour of the actual fuselage.
And it feels like love. Tell me if I'm wrong, 'cause it feels like love. Yeah, it feels like love. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Don't know what you do, but you make me feel fine. And you can't deny we are not just killing time. You should let me know if you want this true. Baby, you just make me feel crazy. A little crazy for you. Yeah. I think about you and won't you hear with me? Am I out of my mind? Or is this how it should be? You made me sing about love. So just tell me if I'm wrong. But it feels like love. Yeah, it feels like love. Yeah! Don't know what you do, but you make me feel fine. And you can't deny we are not just killing time.
All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed checking out, again, what I believe to be the world's best built, nicest Zenith CH701 ever. I just want to thank Jon for taking this time to show off his aircraft and his build, and so we can share this with other builders and hopefully motivate more people to get into aircraft building like Jon has, because it's fun. It's just so plain and simply fun, and then this is what you get to create. I mean, things like this. This is what it's all about. So thanks, Jon.
Exactly
Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Happy flying.
Happy flying. And remember, just build it.
Just build it.
Hey guys, I hope you really enjoyed this episode. I had a lot of fun making it. Really enjoyed the time out there with Jon and seeing his aircraft and taking a tour of his farm. It was a really great time. I just want to mention really quickly that WicksAircraft.com also supplies engine parts and supplies for the UL Power aircraft. So if you have a need for that, for the UL Power, check them out at WicksAircraft.com. If you haven't already, I invite you to go ahead right now, hit that subscribe button, and very importantly, the like button. Hit that like button and that little bell for notification of future videos. I also want to invite you, I just launched a new sister channel called Chasing Aviation. I'll put a link up somewhere for that. Basically, Chasing Aviation is going to be capturing the travel to and from these different destinations where I interview builders and manufacturers. We just purchased a single axle travel trailer, gonna bring the family along. So if you want to follow us on our adventures in RV life, because we're brand new to it, head over to Chasing Aviation. We're on Facebook and YouTube at the moment. I'm in the process of editing the very first episode. It'll be the first, so it'll be some different quirks about it, I'm sure, but as we get going, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Thanks again for supporting this channel, and remember, just build it. Yep, so the farm tour begins, the back of a side-by-side here in Cleveland, Tennessee. Oh yeah? Jada, what do you think?
Good.
Good. You're good. Okay.
But we found a bug. The beetle. Beetle bug. Probably a donkey.